Hello and welcome, dear listeners, to episode 124 of The Reformed Gamers, the show all about theology, video games, live, die, repeating, and anything else that we can think of. I am your Dead Cells host, Logan.
And I am his co-host, Adam.
Adam, I want to talk about Dead Cells a lot. I could talk probably the whole hour about Dead Cells, but before we get into it, gotta do a little bit of housekeeping, brought to you by Luke Strain, Dear VIP, over at patreon.com. You can support us at patreon.com at any level, even $1 goes a long way in helping keep the lights on, keeping the coffee hot, and all that other fun stuff. Luke Strain, thank you for supporting the show at the $25 here, being a Dear VIP. Some housekeeping real quick. Not a whole lot, just a new article up on the website. It was funny. I was talking to my wife because I started this new book that I can't talk about just yet because I'm like 3 pages in. But it's called The Art of Rest, talking about like biblical rest and all that stuff. And I asked my wife, I'm like, do I rest really well? And she was like, well, you do, but you play frustrating games in your free time when you shouldn't. And then somehow that made me write an article about getting angry while playing games. And I don't know. So that's the thing. It's called In Your Anger, Do Not Rage Quit. You can check that out over at the website, thereformedgamers.wordpress.com. That's about it for housekeeping, man. So Adam, good sir. How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing all right. I'm kind of in freak out mode with these students returning. My RAs start returning tomorrow, so summer is over for the Sutherland household. Back to the grind. They're finishing up a lot of renovations they're doing in my dorm. Hannah and Ren are transitioning to life with a busy husband.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a blessed 3 months. Not often do you, like, teachers, I guess, kind of get this, but I don't have lesson planning or anything like that. So it's been like a 3 months of just getting to spend quality time with my wife and daughter and figuring out what that looks like and this bonding since with the adoption with Ren. It's been a really good summer. There's been a lot going on this summer. And so at times it didn't feel like much rest, but really grateful for that season of life, because whatever my next job is, I don't know when and what that will be, but unlikely will it be where I have summers off. So just enjoying that time, but it's here. We got RAs next week, a week from tomorrow of our recording. Freshmen are arriving on campus. So,
man,
I don't know what that means for the podcast. I'll be definitely still doing it, but my gaming, the amount of games I'll be playing will probably be, well, I played Fortnite with a lot of
it'll be limited to just Fortnite.
Yeah. So I'll be playing a lot of Fortnite and late nights trying to get in some single player games. But I love my job. And so sometimes when people are like, oh, you got to go to work, it's like, no, I love my job. I don't mind students coming back. There's a part of the summer where it's like I enjoy the rest, but I also love doing ministry.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
It's going to be, I got a great RA staff, a different year kind of coming up, but it's going to be a good time. But yeah, that's what life is like.
Right on, man.
But what have I been playing?
Yeah, dude, let's get into it. Brought to you by Gareth Evans, man. Again, thank you for supporting us there. Bringing us, what have you been playing? Adam, what you been up to?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about all these at great length, but one of the games that I played and finished, it was a shorter one. I think I talked about it on the last episode, was Everybody's Gone to Rapture.
Ooh.
It's kind of a walking simulator of sorts, adventure game.
Yeah.
You just kind of walk around the premise, and I'm not going to do too like spoilers in case people want to play it, but you kind of are walking around, everyone's disappeared, hence the title, and you're kind of exploring why everyone has disappeared. And the storytelling is fantastic.
Really?
There are points in the game. Oh yeah. Have you not played it?
No, I have. We might be of different opinions on this one.
Really, I thought the storytelling was great. You're kind of walking around being introduced to different people and following different individuals kind of primarily at different stages of the game. There's different ways between the radios, between the phone booths, or just different scenes. Now, sometimes I got lost. Sometimes I didn't know necessarily where to go.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, I'd end up wasting 15, 20 minutes. Like, crap, where am I supposed to go? I lost this little light bulb that I'm following. But the storytelling I thought was was really well done. I mean, there were multiple moments where I got like chill bumps
Wow.
because different people are like it's kind of the end of their story per se,
Right.
and I mean, and the soundtrack, holy cow!
Yeah, the
Like
soundtrack's really
again,
good on that one. I'll
I'm
admit
not a
that.
guy that notices soundtracks, and we've talked about this,
Yeah, yeah,
but the soundtrack was phenomenal, and
yeah.
that's what I think makes a lot of the moments really emotional. Is you're
Okay.
hearing the dialogue, you've kind of got this backstory, and then the music is just setting it up, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh,
It plays
I
really well.
really, I really enjoyed this game.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Re- I'm I'm not a big, especially adventure game, but walking simulators are kind of whatever to me. I don't play a
Right.
ton of them, but man, Hannah was kind of watching me at times. I'm like, Hannah, this game is so good. Like, if you don't like walking simulators, this game probably won't change your opinion. But if you're down with that kind, it's all story. There's no gameplay. You're literally just walking around. It's like a book of sorts. You know,
Yeah,
that's
that's
that's what
true.
you kind of get with walking simulators. Like you're listening to an audio book, but you're kind of controlling and you kind of get to do a little bit of create your own adventure of what you see and what you hear at different moments. But played it, really enjoyed it. There's some stuff we could potentially talk about on an episode, so that might be a game that we put on a poll for the patrons to vote on at some point.
I'd be up for
But
that.
I enjoyed the game a whole lot. Another game I've been playing because I've been trying to pick and choose. Okay, I'm not looking to play some huge 40-hour experience. I'm going to play try to get some of these little games completed until September and Spider-Man hits. But started Telltale. Actually, I started Final Fantasy 15.
Oh,
I
snap.
played it for about 45 minutes, and I'm
And
like,
you're like, I'm done.
what? What in the world am I playing?
It was too
It
weird,
was
wasn't
too,
it? It was too weird.
it was too much for me.
This coming
I,
from
I
the
just
guy who's played Nino Cooney too.
I tell you what, like the character, the boy band stuff was it was too much.
You weren't digging it,
The
man?
girl, the girl at the beginning, with her top falling off was I'm like I can't play this in good
Whoa.
conscience around my wife.
Wait, what? I don't remember that at all.
The mechanic chick with her boobs falling out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Okay.
like
Now I remember.
I like
Okay.
not that like I that stuff bothers me per se. Like
Sure.
but I don't want to be playing my wife be like, what in the world are you playing?
Yep.
Um, and it just, I mean, again, the combat, I thought the world was pretty enough. You know, I thought the
Sure.
graphics were good. The gameplay wasn't horrible. But I mean, we were talking about this the other day on our Burnout episode. The whole time I was playing it, I'm like, I'm playing this not because I want to, but I feel like I should. And
Mm,
it was making me feel burnout on games.
yeah.
And so I said, I want to play something that I want to play.
Fair
And
enough.
so I'm like, maybe I come back around to it. In the end, if I never played again, I paid $5 and I've wasted $5 on other things
That's not bad.
and never tried it. And so if anybody wants to buy it off me, I will sell it to you for $5.
I think everyone's turned off after you mentioned the thing about the girl's top coming off or whatever it was.
Yeah, I was just like, it's just not for me. It was just definitely the whole game was.
Like, I remember that character, but I don't remember like her top coming off.
I'm not saying it came off. I'm just saying figure of speech.
Oh, gotcha. It was just very revealing, which
yeah,
she
yeah,
is.
figure
Yeah.
of speech.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Okay.
I tried that and I'm like, no. So I'm like looking through kind of the downloaded games from PlayStation Plus. Decided to start up Telltale Batman.
There you go.
Season 1.
What do you think?
And it is good.
Yeah, buddy.
Now, I hit a couple glitches because it's Telltale.
Yeah,
and their
that's to be
engine
expected.
is jank as can be. Like there's one point where I played probably 15 minutes of an episode and it just crashes on me and I'm
Yep.
like, dang it.
No, wait,
So
sorry.
that
Which
kind
season was this again?
Season 1.
Season 1. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Season 1. So I've played the first 2 episodes. And again, Hannah's like, I love it when she starts making commentary on my games.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, she's always paying attention. You know, our wives are always watching.
She's going to be
and
playing
she's
Batman
so-
when you come home one day.
She's like, oh, I like that this is like, you know, a comic booky video game. She's like, I think this looks cool. And she would sit there and she'll watch those games because of the story. side of it. If it's an action game where I'm running around just slaying stuff, killing things, whatever, she don't really care. But with those being background, she's like, "Is that how it goes in the real story? I don't remember this. I don't remember this. I don't remember this." Talking about how Bruce Wayne's parents were kind of corrupt and whatnot.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Is that real?" I'm like, "I have no idea."
You're like, oh no, let me text Logan real quick and ask him.
I don't know anything about Batman. I just know that the story is good so far. So I'm kind of slow rolling that.
Yeah,
You can almost play an episode in a sitting if you really wanted to. So
for sure.
that's kind of how I'm going to be approaching it. So whenever I think, okay, I got 2-ish hours, maybe I'll sit down and play an episode at a time. That's not something I have to rush through. But it's good. It's the first Telltale game I've played in a long time. I played season 1 of Walking Dead. I played Fable. So or Wolf Among Us.
Fable. Oh, I was like, what are you talking about, Fable?
I'm sorry, it's from the Fable comics.
Gotcha, that's right.
But Wolf Among Us, and really enjoyed that one. But I never got around to the Borderlands one. I never played the Game of Thrones ones.
The Game of Thrones one was really boring, but Tales from the Borderlands is amazing.
I heard it's really funny.
It's so funny. There's one scene in, I think it's episode 4, that's just, it's easily the most funniest thing I've seen in a video game. It's real good. I'll let you play it and experience it for yourself.
So I'm like, it was like a palate cleanser of sorts. It's like, I've been playing a lot of different things. I'm like, I just need to play something a little more laid back, chill. So I put in Batman. But lastly, just real quick, playing Salt and Sanctuary. That's kind of my main focus game right now on the Switch. Soon, hopefully, be starting maybe Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade. But I've been playing Salt and Sanctuary, and we talked about this on patch notes. I'm getting better, Logan.
Are you? Like, are you getting good at them? Are you there?
I'm not getting good. I'm getting better.
Okay.
I've beaten 3 bosses in the last day and a half, so that's fun.
Look at you.
And so one of them I beat on my first try. I'm like, what is happening? That was one of the easier ones. It was the the Jester one. I don't know if you remember that one.
I don't know. I only beat the first boss and then stopped.
Oh my gosh! Come on, man! Come on!
I've been playing the real Soulsborne. I'm playing some Dark Souls 3, man. So,
okay. But I'm enjoying this game. You kind of figuring out more, playing around. I kind of found a couple weapons I like, and I got too stuck to them. I'm like, I need to start getting some better weapons, just because these are really underpowered. But so I'm not just dying left and right. I'm learning how to play the game better. So enjoying that. I don't know how long it is, how many bosses, but it's been a really fun game. I encourage our dear listeners to check it out if you're looking for and again, it's like a palate cleanser game in many ways. It's side scroller. I'm not it doesn't take, I can pick it up and play for 5-10 minutes, or I can play it for an hour. I've really enjoyed, normally on the 2D games, I want to play them handheld, but this is a game, because of the focus it takes, I've been playing a lot on the TV and really enjoying it on there. So yeah, sorry that was a little bit longer than usual, but that's what I've been playing.
Cool beans. Well, dear listeners, gather around, because let me tell you about this little game that came out recently called Dead Cells that I've literally been playing nonstop. We talked pre-show about how I have it on 3 systems. I have it for Steam, I have it for the Switch, I have it for PS4. So that's literally all I've been playing, and it is so good. It's so good. It's like, how do you describe this game? It's like a fast-paced Castlevania roguelike game where when you die, you lose your cells, which is the stuff that you use to upgrade, and you return back at the very beginning of where you started the game, but you keep all your upgrades. You can get certain upgrades that let you keep a set amount of money, so you can use that to upgrade your equipment. And so theoretically, each run you do gets better and better, but also the levels change because they're procedurally generated, so each run is going to look differently to a degree, and it's so good, man. I don't know how many hours I put into this game across all 3 platforms, but it's so good. Just everything about it. The controls are nice and tight. The way that you the combat is fast and frenetic. It can be very tactical or strategic depending on the items that you get, because you start off with a sword and a shield or a bow, depends on what you pick. And then you go through the dungeons. You can pick up new weapons. You can pick up traps. You can pick up bombs, and you can upgrade those, and you can upgrade your abilities, which make you stronger, and it makes your weapon stronger. And then depending on what you do, you can either sometimes you'll come across chests that get you new weapons, or you'll come across a chest that'll get you a new item, but it will curse you to where if you get touched even once, you will automatically die. So you have to kill 10 enemies to remove the curse and just keep playing. The game changes just about every time you play it. I'm constantly discovering new stuff each run, whether that's something involved with the lore, or I'm encountering a new character, or maybe a character I once knew is now dead. It's just, the game is so, dare I say, perfect that this could quite possibly be the game that I have been waiting for so long for. Years, maybe a couple months, I don't know, maybe a couple days. But it's fantastic. I love this game. I've already got several friends hooked on it. They're loving it. Dear listeners, this is a game that I will say do not sleep on. Let me just say that. Again, if you have it on Steam, try it out, see what you think, and then if you don't like it, of course, you can refund it. But this is a game I'm pretty confident that folks will pick up and enjoy and push through the frustrations of some of the things. But it's so good, and it's so perfect on the Nintendo Switch. That portable, having it being portable and docking it and stuff, it's so good, man. So good. I love everything about this game. It's just
I haven't heard anyone say anything really bad about it. I mean, it's so good. There's been people copying other people's reviews because they didn't have anything else to say about it. But do you want to speak into that a little bit? I mean, this isn't topic of the show, but what do you think about that whole fiasco?
I mean, just to catch people up who maybe didn't hear about this, Philip Mewson, I think his name is, relatively new journalist over at IGN, well, ex-journalist. He put out his review for Dead Cells on August 6th, and come to find out, I think it's Boomstick Gaming is the YouTube channel, put out his review for Dead Cells back in July, and Philip's review on IGN copied a lot of Boomstick's review, plagiarizing even several segments. You can actually go to his YouTube channel, Boomstick Gaming, and see the comparison. Since then, Philip has been, the Dead Cells review has been taken down, and Philip's been fired. And I don't know, man. I learned in school you don't plagiarize your stuff or you're going to fail. So, I mean, even when it comes to this, it's like you don't steal someone else's work. I don't have a problem with like citing that stuff like we were taught in school, but to just straight up rip someone's content like that and copy it and put your name on it like it's yours. I mean, you kind of get what's coming to you, man. You can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely made a big mistake. Like, that's a definite no. There's no beating around the bush, you know. And so, does he deserve to lose his job? I think at the level of IGN, for sure. Like, this is not the Reformed Gamers as much as big.
Adam,
as
what have you been stealing? Whose work have you been plagiarizing?
Yeah, I mean, you're at a extremely reputable company.
Yeah.
And what you do in many ways can affect other people's opinions of that company, and has a trickle-down effect. And so I know there's been a lot of ripples in the gaming world because of that, especially at IGN. And so it's a definite no. You never like someone, you know, losing their livelihood, because it's going to have a lot of effects. And I mean, I'm not saying he didn't, you know, it's not a just consequence. I think it is. You just kind of like, you know, if he could look back, I bet he's like, I wish I could take back that. But unfortunately, with a lot of things in life, sometimes there's no takebacks.
Yep.
As sometimes we like to do as kids. And so I hate it for the guy, but he hasn't commented on it yet. So I'm glad that IGN's making a lot of the right choices with giving the guy credit, apologizing. They're handling it pretty well, but you just hate to see that. You know, you never for anyone involved, the guy who originally made it, the new guy, you wish he would have just produced his own stuff. The thing that it makes me think is, what kind of pressure did Philip feel to think that he had to do that?
I don't know.
Was so overwhelmed with the amount of work that he has. Maybe he's just being lazy. I don't know what caused to do that action, to make such a huge blunder, but it makes my mind think, like, I want to know the why. Like, why?
Yeah.
And it may never get that. I mean, I don't. This story may fade away, but I just kind of wonder why. Why did he do that?
Well, and something I saw on Twitter, Jason Schreier from Kotaku, of course, the guy that wrote Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, that fantastic book that if you haven't read yet, you should go check it out. He tweeted out apparently that this isn't the first time Philip has done stuff like this. I guess at a previous outlet that he was at, he did that on a couple of reviews for different games, and so it seems to be his thing, his thing that he does. And so I don't know. I've written reviews. I mean, let's be honest. I've written reviews for the website, and there are times where I don't want to write the review, but I'm like, I'm going to write it anyway. And it's not really that hard. You just have to sit down and do it. I just don't see the point in watching someone else's review, copying their transcript, and then changing some of the words and then saying it's your own. Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, not good. Not a good situation, but IGN seems to be making good. But to switch gears, man, what if brought to you by David Skinner. Thank you for supporting the TRG. Patreon.com. What have you been reading, Adam? What have you been up to?
Been reading a couple things. I'll talk about one of them in the recos, but the one I want to talk about is a book by Natasha Sistruck Robinson. It's a book called Mentor for Life. She is ex-military. She was in the I want to say Army, if my memory serves me. I haven't read it in a few days, just prepping for the semester. But she's been involved in church, of course, for most of her life. Been involved in a lot of mentorship, and she uses the word mentorship or mentor synonymously with discipleship. She says, "I'm using." She does that because she's like, mentoring is a more accessible word to the church even and society compared to discipleship. People hear discipleship and they're like, not that we can't explain it, but she says, just for clarity's sake, when I say mentorship, I'm meaning discipleship in many ways because so much of it can overlap. But she says, I'm going to use the word mentorship so that we're relatively clear with what she's trying to say. Mm-hmm. And so she kind of is discussing through the way that she has been involved in mentoring. And now it's written in some ways directed at women because she says, we're looking for women in the church, women this, women that. It is definitely applicable to both genders. And so she looks at her mentorship model is very much more small group oriented than think one-on-one, which in my world and I think the way that we have seen it kind of transition in Christianity today is very one-on-one. I think when maybe we were kids growing up, we were discipled and mentored through Sunday school classes, through to some degree small groups, to your youth group. I think while those things are still there in a lot of churches, especially small groups, youth groups, stuff like that, I think when we start hearing discipleship and mentorship, it's definitely shifting to a one-on-one. So I like the direction that she's going, especially with the job that I do. A lot of mentorship, discipleship on both one-on-one level, small group level, dorm level. So it's been a really, really good book. I'm not all the way through it. We're kind of been talking about the whys to mentorship. Mm-hmm. Now we're starting to get in some more of the practical aspects of it. And so I've read mentorship books, discipleship books from male perspectives, and so I'm enjoying getting this perspective from a female, and she's an African American. So from both the Black and female perspective, So I don't know when I'll finish it. So I don't know if next episode I'll be like, go, for sure go buy it. But so far, so good. It's not rewriting mentorship, like how to do everything, but it seems to be a really, really good resource.
Right on. What's the name of that book again?
It's more for life.
Sorry, can you say that again? You like kind of the connection was like.
And I mumble, so that's also a problem. But
perfect.
Mentor for Life.
Mentor for Life. Okay, I'm gonna add that on my Goodreads. Well, I got that pulled up. Right on.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it for sure with a lot of what you do with youth and
man,
discipleship.
Definitely seems like the route I'm going down with my students, because we'll be starting up some discipleship here pretty soon. We're gonna be meeting some youth for a Bible study here later this week, so it'll be rad. As far as what I've been reading, then I finished Speaking to Teenagers. Finally, it took me like 2 months to finally finish that book, but I did that intentionally because I wanted to actually absorb the content of what Doug Fields was talking about. In case any of you dear listeners missed me describing the book a few episodes ago, it's basically written towards youth pastors or youth leaders who are going to be speaking to teenagers, teaching the Bible, and giving you some tips on really just a wide variety of things, to using technology, to how to conduct your sermons, how to stand, how to talk, how to project your voice, do all sorts of things. And I gotta say, I think to a degree, the book is a little too long for what it is. I think some of the stuff that they added in there didn't really need to be added in there, in terms of like, they devoted an entire chapter to talking about different microphone type of things that you can use. And I'm like, this doesn't really need to be in here. But for the rest of it, though, I thought it was really good. And Doug Fields actually put into the book this formula on how to kind of construct your talks with students that I've been trying out for the past 2 or 3 weeks now. And I have to say, it makes prepping a lesson way easier. It doesn't skimp out on the theology. It doesn't water down the text or anything like that, but it builds it in a way that maintains students' interest, or at least their attention, and it gets them thinking, gets them engaged. At least just from what I can tell, the past couple times I've gotten to use it, my students definitely seem more engaged with how the lessons are built, and so it's really good. So any of you youth pastors listening, youth leaders, volunteers, definitely check the book out. It's called Speaking to Teenagers by Doug Fields. Fantastic little book. Now, Adam, good sir, let's roll into the topic, man. Topic of the show brought to you by Dear VIP Eric Bryant. This was something that we put on patreon.com/thereformgamers and said, hey, patrons, how's about you engage in your favorite pastime, interacting with a poll? We'll put some choices out there, and you guys get to pick what the topic is for this episode. And the topic that won is how our gaming tastes have changed over the years, or kind of maybe even how they've changed recently, even, which is an interesting topic because, I mean, when you start out as a gamer and you go and you play more games, your tastes change in games. You tend to gravitate towards certain games and you kind of give up other games, and you kind of morphs into this little wibbly wobbly timey-wimey kind of thing. And so let's talk about that a little bit. Adam, let's just kind of go back and forth. We'll play a little ping pong here like we normally do.
Okay.
And when it comes to you're looking back on your years of gaming, how have they changed? What's a thing that has changed? Maybe something you found out you like certain games over others, or maybe you found out that you gave up on certain games. I don't know. Go with it, man. Run with it for the dear listeners.
I was just talking about this with some guys the other day, some of my coworkers, because I'm kind of I guess I'm intended in maybe some but I am the residential gamer amongst the residential directors, and so I'm like the video game guy. Everybody knows it. It's not this hidden thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, some of our other coworkers just across the university will be like, Adam's a gamer. And so the guys are talking about how if and when I game, they're like, I play sport. It'd be a sports game. It'd be Madden or FIFA or 2K, and I'm like, and so we were talking about, I'm like, growing up. Now I can't say only, because I played your Mario's and I played some shooters and stuff, but there was a season, a season of life where I was playing college football. If college football came back, let's be real, I'd be playing that boy nonstop again, because college football was probably some of the best gaming experiences, memories I have. But college football, Madden, college basketball, a little bit of MLB games, FIFA. At that point, I wasn't huge, and so I used to be a huge just sports gamer. I love sports, played sports growing up my whole life, play a lot of sports now. We kind of joke about in the Facebook group about, sports or sporting, or, we give sports a hard time because people hate on games, but they won't hate on sports, which when you really get down to have a lot of correlations in regards to watching and consuming of sports and video games. So, but growing up, that's what I did a ton of. I can't even begin to describe and how much I love those. I was ranked, and this is one of my claims to fame in video games. In NCAA football 2006, I cracked the top 100 online.
Oh, wow.
And so, worldwide with my record and stuff. So I felt really cool about that. Only time I've ever done it, I was a beast. I had 6 or 7 plays, and most of our listeners aren't going to know what this means, but I would audible so you could kind of switch on the fly plays without having to go into the huddle. So I'd go a no huddle offense, and I would just wreck folk online. I was really good. And so, but now, man, it's hard for me to stay committed to a sports game.
Oh, wow.
Probably the sports game that I've been committed to the most over the last few years, FIFA 2015. I played a lot of that when I think that was maybe right around when I first got my PS4. I played a ton of online just for the competition side, but you know what the kicker is? When I joined the Reformed Gamers podcast or Facebook group, everyone's like, all these single player games, you got to play them. Final Fantasy.
Yep, I remember.
Zelda. I'm like, I've not played any of these games. And so I began transitioning into, I want to find ways to play these. Last of Us. Started playing all the Metal Gear Solids. Played all the most of, if not all of, not all of the Zeldas. I know of a few I haven't, but most of the Zeldas. And now, I bought FIFA for the Switch last year because I'm like, I'm gonna play this. I played it a little bit, and I'm like, I just don't care. And so I sold it. I got Mario Tennis Aces. Played it for a little bit, and I'm like, not that I don't enjoy the games, but again, at this stage in my life, I'm looking for playing video games is a relaxer, but I also like that feeling of accomplishment. That's why in the summers and stuff, I like to play video games and read, because and now some people are like, what a dumb, some of my friends would be like, that's a stupid accomplishment, but I feel like I'm completing something. It's like watching a movie. It's like reading a book. I'm getting a story. But if I'm just playing a sports game, yeah, I'm having fun, but what am I completing? So that's a major way from growing up. Playing Madden against my brother in our bedroom, that's some of my first video game memories. And so just seeing that shift now I can still get on, and I love playing my nephew. He got 2K for his Switch, and he thinks he's good, and then I get on there and I wreck him. So that's always fun. I know I can still play sports video games because I know sports really well. So, but I just don't play them. I just don't play them really at all anymore.
Yep. I remember, when we started living together in seminary, how you used to be a sports / Call of Duty guy, and then you got your PS4, started playing some other games. I remember when you first started getting into JRPGs, and you played Persona 4 Golden, and I'm just like,
we'll get into that. We'll talk about that shift in coming up after you share a little bit.
I'm just like, my boy's growing up. He's all grown up. He's growing up.
Some people say that's regressing. Depending on who you ask. You ask my buddies who play sports video games, they're gonna be like, "What in the world has happened to you?"
Man,
But
they're just limiting themselves. You don't need that negativity in your life. Delete them off your PlayStation friends list. I'm kidding, of course. This is something I've been thinking about for a couple weeks now because we put the poll out so long ago and got the results in pretty quickly. And I mean, there's just so many ways that I've changed as a gamer. I think one of the things that I've changed the most in is that I used to avoid games that were just really difficult. Like I wouldn't play games that would be what some people would probably consider to be broken, but over the past few years playing games like Metal Gear Solid, which I consider to be a little more difficult because you had to be stealthy and you had to really watch where you're going and doing all that. And playing games like Hitman, where again you have to be stealthy, you kind of have to plan your stuff out a little bit. To even something like Fury or Dark Souls, where it's just you got to have really good reflexes and you really got to build your character out really well, at least in regards to Dark Souls. I really enjoy those kind of games. The games that are just brutally hard to some degree. I enjoy that. I get a thrill out of those games. I even kind of wrote about it in that article I put on the website this past week, talking about how I embrace those mistakes. I embrace those failures because I can go back and look at what I did wrong and then go, okay, well, here's how I can improve. Well, maybe I need to go and change this weapon out or do something. I always know what I need to change because I can always spot that. And to me, there's a sense of accomplishment coming from that. As even when I fail, I know I'm gonna succeed at least somewhere in getting better, or at least, as the kids say, get good. And so I enjoy those hard games. I enjoy those games that people tend to rage quit on or get angry over. I know Fury was one that is not a game for everybody because it gets brutal pretty quick, but I soldiered through that game and really, really enjoyed it. Dark Souls 2 was the same way. Playing through Dark Souls 3 a little bit here and there. Same thing there. I don't really mind really difficult games anymore. So, well, yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah, man.
Because when I think of, when we go back and play the old games, we didn't know it then, but those games were stinking hard, and we loved them. Like you think about, your Mega Mans and
I was just about to say Mega Man.
Mega Man. I think of
yeah, Contra is another one.
Contra, but it's another NES game. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. I want to say Adventure Island. Adventure Island.
I don't know what that is.
But man, these games were so hard. I mean, I even went back and played Donkey Kong Country with my nieces on the SNES, and
yeah,
the minecart
yes,
level. I'm like,
that's hard.
It took me forever to beat it.
Yeah,
and then I play some of these games nowadays, and I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad. There's some different gameplay models.
Yeah,
but we kind of got it good nowadays. All the graphics and everything, they look better, they play well. But man, some old school games were hard. So sometimes I don't know. I mean, Bloodborne is hard in its own way, no doubt about that. Dark Souls, but compared to some of the older games, it's a very relative conversation. Subjective in some ways of what and when and stuff. So
yeah,
definitely a good one there.
We need more games like The Lion King on SNES. I will say.
Oh my gosh, I beat that game when we were working at Apple. I had because I wasn't worried about bricking my phone because we worked at Apple and I knew I could swap it out because we knew people.
Sure.
So I jailbroke my phone, and I know we don't encourage this, so don't. This was old Adam.
This is pre-Jesus, right?
I'm not gonna say that, but
I know it was, yeah.
Three things. But I jailbroke my phone and I was playing The Lion King on my phone. And so it was even harder because you don't have the buttons to actually feel when you're jumping and stuff. But I had save states, and I somehow finally beat that game, and it took me forever.
That's crazy.
Yeah, forever. But especially the
Man.
one scene where I just can't wait to be king and
Yeah,
you're
dude.
flipping everything.
Never made it past that. I never made it past that. That was the one
I'm
that just
like
broke
every
me.
jump I'm like save stating just so that I don't okay, I died. I'm not going all the way back to the beginning and trying to perfect this. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
man.
good one.
Yeah, man. Ah. So what about you?
Uh
What's your second one?
yeah, I mean you kinda hinted at this. Uh the way that the JRPGs that I have got into recently is something that you wouldn't have been able to get me to play a JRPG growing up. Like I never played Final Fantasy. I never played Chrono Trigger. I never played any of the classic SNES like JRPGs. Like that was just okay, boring. Give me some Mario, give me some action, give me a shooter or even like Contra, Terminator versus RoboCop. Like those are some great games. But I would have never touched a JRPG. I mean, the the Japanese art style and stuff like that. I'm just like, it's just goofy. It's weird. And I'm not gonna say I'm right. I was right in this by any means, but I'll be like, it's just childish. Childish. It's like, why would I ever play that? And then Logan got me to play Persona.
That's
Like he said,
that was
I
it.
got me
The rest
that.
is
I got me
history.
that darn Vita,
Mm.
and I'm like, oh, like my wife hates me for playing this game, but
It's okay.
she's
My
like,
wife hated me too.
I can't stand you right now. And I'm like, that's harsh, but I've been there. And so
That's
I didn't
awesome.
blame her because I would have given my friends a hard time growing up if I would have seen them playing it. So I see guys in the group when they're like hitting up yard sales and like, oh, just got all these sweet JRPGs that are super rare that I can flip. I'm like, I've never heard of any of these games because that was just what I did.
I can
And so
I can just see you sliding into those posts like, tell me more about these JRPGs that I haven't heard of. Where do I get one
yeah,
of these?
I just now I know if I'm at a yard sale or something, I'm like,
You got to look for the
whatever
JRPGs,
weird
man.
looking game, I'm like, if I can buy it for cheap, I might as well buy it because there's probably going to be some. I want to be careful with what word I use here. Some person of different interests who would probably really like this game, and I could maybe make a dime on it. But so yeah, I played Persona 4 Golden on the Vita, and I'm like, this is new, this is interesting. The storytelling is really good at that point. I was much more into the story based games than I was just shoot 'em up, bang bang type of games. So that game kind of opened me up, and then I mean, I played Nino Kuni, which by the time I got to Nino Kuni, I would say like I had heard from guys like Colin Moriarty, like this game is really good. I could trust that because I had finally played a JRPG and enjoyed it. And after watching videos, I'm like, now I don't know if I'll ever watch a like a Studio Ghibli or any of those what's the word, anime movies.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can make that jump. Some might say I have standards.
I think you could.
Some might say that Adam, just relax. But I don't know if I'll ever make that again. That might be grounds for divorce from my wife if I
Snap.
an anime movie because when I played those games and when I played like Kingdom Hearts, she's like, seriously, what are you? Who are you right now? But I'm like, it's a story. Those JRPGs have really good stories, and so love Nino Kuni, love Persona 4 Golden, really enjoy the Kingdom Hearts games, enjoy Nino Kuni too. I'm trying to think of some of the different JRPGs. Persona 5, I mean, amazing games. Now I haven't gone, like I said, I just tried Final Fantasy 15, not my type of game. I haven't played like Octopath or any of those. I played Mario RPG, which is kind of a take of sorts on a JRPG Mario style game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been a huge shift. There's been some others that I'd like to try, but again, those are usually big meaty games. I think of like Danganronpa. I'd really like to try that series out. Not sure if I like it. The Valkyria Chronicles, those games look interesting. which is something I would have never said. I seriously would have never have said that 5 years ago. Would not have touched them with the poll.
I'm trying to think of a couple other ways that my gaming tastes have changed over the years. I will say that definitely one way that this has kind of changed, and I don't know if this is necessarily a cop-out or not, but we all know, because I've mentioned this before. Growing up, I used to be a Nintendo fanboy. Had the NES, the Super NES, or the SNES. Or I just want to say that to trigger people. We did a poll in the Facebook group about that earlier. The SNES, did the N64, did the GameCube. I mean, I went through all of them up until the Wii, and that's when I said, Nintendo, you done messed up. I'm done with you. I don't like this thing. Had the Wii U, still didn't like it. I'm like, Nintendo, I'm not digging what you're doing. You're messing things up. I'm not digging it. But now it's kind of come full circle. I used to be a Nintendo hater, and now I'm back to being a Nintendo fanboy because I love the Switch, dude. It's so good. And I think that's what I'm starting to get more hyped about. I'm finding myself getting more hyped for Nintendo games, even if they're re-releases of the Wii U games. I mean, I was hyped for Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze when that came out. I don't think it's worth $60, but I was still getting hyped for it. I'm getting hyped for Smash Brothers, getting hyped for, I wasn't really hyped for Mario Tennis Aces because I didn't like the demo because I wasn't good at it. But just coming full circle of kind of being a Nintendo fanboy to being a Nintendo hater and being like an Xbox fanboy and a Sony pony, which I'm still a Sony pony. Still love me some platinum trophies, you know what I'm saying? But being a Nintendo fanboy again has kind of been an odd transition, but a welcome one. It's nice being back in the Nintendo family kind of full force versus, or at least compared to what I used to be, and I'm really enjoying it. And again, I will say this, the Switch is the greater Vita. Just putting that out there. So I love saying that and then getting the reaction from you. It just makes it even better. So, but yeah, it's just nice to see.
If Nintendo there was no Vita, there would never have been a Switch.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know about that. I mean, predestination and things, and I don't know what I'm saying. I just, yeah. So that's that, man. That's another way that I've changed. So,
yeah, that's good. I think this will probably be maybe my last one. I'm sure there's a lot of other little things that have changed, but growing up with video games, they were very much social. All my video game memories, really growing up, are tied to some sort of community or like multiplayer experience. A lot of, I think of, again, like I said earlier, playing Madden with my brother on the Super Nintendo, playing Contra with my brother on the NES, playing Call of Duties with all my boys on the Xbox 360, playing, we called them SOCOM Sundays on the PlayStation 2, going home after church each Sunday and plugging into that wireless adapter you had to buy for the PlayStation 2 and just having a blast. I mean, some of the first real online experiences I've had with in video games on SOCOM, and Mario Party, Pokemon Stadium, the mini games there. Even like we would play Pokemon Snap together and just laugh at each other as they're playing the game. And so just a ton of memories growing up, being surrounded around, the multiplayer, even sports games. I mean, the online franchises. I was at a friend's birthday party up in Michigan a few weeks ago, and we were talking about the online dynasties that you could have, and each team that everybody played at, and the rivalries amongst our friends group. Because I would play as like Florida State. One of my other friends was Florida. Another friend was Miami. So we always had to play each other every season. And so it was always like these, legit rivalries where it was always a close game. And so just a ton of multiplayer memories gaming. Like I would say pre-living overseas, that's where my memories happen. I played some single player games, a lot of, the campaigns and the different shooters, your Grand Theft Autos, the occasional other story-based game, but most of my games, I mean, I think of, you look at these timers like, oh, I put 50 hours into this single-player story. Like, man, that's a lot. I put like 25 days into Call of Duty Infinite or Modern Warfare 2.
That's crazy.
Guys, we used to just play that game all the time. That was a different stage of life where, we were staying up every night from 11 to 2 a.m. playing, online with our group of friends. But, you think about that now. If I put 50 hours into a game, I'm like, wow, like that's a meaty game. 100 hours in Persona 5, like that's approximately 4 days or something like that. But we were putting in crazy hours in Call of Duty shooters. But now, as I think of my gaming memories, like, yeah, I play some Fortnite still. Yeah, I play, a little Rocket League here and there, the occasional online shooter, Overwatch, some of that stuff. But the majority of the gaming memories that I have established over the last 5 years are single player experiences. I think of the Last of Us. I think of God of War. I think of The Witcher 3. Some of those big scenes in those games. And, again, Ni no Kuni, a game like staying up till we're doing like, we're like sleeping out in the living room on the couches. Hannah falls asleep. I stay up to like 4 a.m. because I just wanted to finish the game. And so that's been the transition of both my gaming style, a much more single player focus, but much more single player in regards to the memories that I've been kind of creating here recently. Now, I love getting on with the guys and playing a Fortnite match, or, the Division 2 is going to hopefully be a big one where me and some of the boys kind of get back together and do that. But a lot more of my gaming memories have become single player focused. When growing up, everything was tied to someone else in some form, whether that's couch co-op or online multiplayer.
Nice, man. I have a couple others that I could go through, but I'll do this one because I think this one's going to come as a shock to most of our dear listeners. Is that I used to be really into mobile gaming, and I don't mean like DS, Game Boy, Vita, that kind of stuff. I'm talking about playing games on your phone kind of stuff. Like when I first got my iPhone, I was into games like Peggle, Angry Birds, Tiny Wings. There was this one airplane game where you controlled where the flights went and you told them where to go and you refueled and stuff. I can't remember the name of it now, but I was addicted to that one for the longest time in college. And then just kind of as the games started putting in those microtransactions and more and more and more, I just got pushed out of that, And I've tried to go back here and there with the Marvel Contest of Champions and some of those, but I can't stand it anymore, I mean, dear listeners, if there's any games that you think are great on the iPhone specifically, hit me up with some recos. But if it's got microtransactions in it to where it shoves it in your face, I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to play it. I miss the early days of iOS gaming when, you could just play a game. You could spend maybe $5 on a game and get the whole thing and enjoy it and just play it. And you didn't have ads. You didn't have the game trying to get more money out of you. That's one of the things I liked about Plants vs. Zombies when it first came out. You didn't get these microtransactions getting shoved in your face, but it's more and more of, or as that game got updated and the new one came out, it became a mess, dude. And yeah. So I don't know. I haven't really been much into it over the past few years, but if I'm missing something, dear listeners, you let me know. I wish I could play Flappy Bird. That was the only one I liked in the past couple of years. It was a good game.
Plants vs. Zombies. What a game. That was a great game back in the day.
Oh, absolutely, man. I remember draining my iPhone battery playing that game. There'd be days where I'd be like, my phone would be dead by noon because I'm playing Plants vs. Zombies so much. Such a good game.
Yeah.
Such a good game. But yeah. So like I said, dear listeners, if I'm missing anything, you let me know. Hit me up with your mobile phone recos. All right. Maybe I'll get back into it. I did I did download the Chrono Trigger port back to my phone because apparently they updated it and made it way better. So I'll give that a go. I will give that a go. If you guys have any other recos, you let me know. I'll try it out. But I will say this, Jesse Knopp, if you're listening, don't you dare recommend Everwing. I am not touching that Facebook Messenger game again. I was addicted once, addicted twice. I ain't doing it a third time, man. That game is too much. Too much of a time sink. So any other recommendation besides Everwing, I will get I'll get in there and play it. But I ain't playing no Facebook Messenger games. I'll say that much. So
yeah, no doubt.
Oh golly, I put so much time into Everwing, it's kind of ridiculous. But so yeah, dear listeners, those are some of the ways that our gaming tastes have changed. Let us know through the different social media stuff that we have how your gaming tastes have changed. Maybe you've found a new series or a new genre that you really enjoy. Maybe you've given up on a couple things, and let us know from there. Let us know how you changed in your gaming. But with that being said, episode 124 is coming to a close. But before we let you go, as usual, brought to you by Dear VIP Eric Bryant, some recos. Adam, man, what should our dear listeners check out?
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. Check out Everybody's Gone to the Rapture if you're a walking simulator fan. If you're just looking for a chill story that is good, I would say it's a fungus, or gets you thinking a little bit.
Sorry, did you say it's a fungus?
I don't think so. It's a fun story. I don't know. It gets you thinking.
I'm hearing stuff, dude. Just ignore me.
I might have. Again, I'm tired and I'm a mumbler, so I'm not. I don't have that beautiful radio voice that you have.
Hey man, words are still hard. You know what I'm saying?
They are hard for you, but you've got the voice of a DJ.
I've
got the voice of not a DJ.
A handsome bearded man. That's what you got the voice of.
I guess. But another thing I'd suggest, if you're into this thing, and I'm not going to go into it much, but there's a book called Race and Place by David Leong. It kind of looks at how proximity and kind of how during the 50s, 60s, 70s and different housing allowances and how those things shaped cities, how they shaped different locations of races within urban and suburban contexts, and how our place and proximity and race, how those experiences kind of create a background to how we experience and read the Word of God and interact in ministry. And so definitely an interesting read. It really does look at, as much as it does race, like how does our location affect our experience with the Word of God and the people of God, and how we understand it. Because if truth is truth, but how that is being fleshed out and lived out is very different, whether that's overseas, inner city, rural, farmland, isolated, in large communities. And so it was a really interesting book. I really enjoyed it. So if that's a conversation that you as dear listeners are engaged in and enjoy, that would be a book that I would recommend by David Leong, Race and Place.
Right on. Well, I will reco again a book I mentioned earlier. Speaking to teenagers, if you are a youth pastor, youth leader, volunteer in your church that's going to be working with students, pick this game up, work through it slowly, take some notes, just really absorb the material and take it all in. Doug Fields knows what he's talking about. Really, really good resource. So check that out. Speaking to teenagers, a link to both of our book recos will be in the show notes. And of course, check out Dead Cells on Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PS4, Steam. I don't really care where you play it. Just try the game out, see what you think. Pretty sure you're going to enjoy it. So if you've got a hefty backlog, maybe wait a little bit. I mean, the game's probably going to go on sale at some point, because all games do. But if you're looking for something to play, you can't go wrong with Dead Cells. Super, super good. Love the game. Fantastic stuff. I'll put some YouTube content up. I'll probably stream it at some point if I haven't already over on the Twitch channel. Which, speaking of, there's some ways you can contact us. As always, if you like what we do here at the TRG, at the TRG. If you like what we do here at TRG and you want to support us, head over to patreon.com/thereformedgamers to consider pledging your support. Even support as low as $1 goes a long way in helping us keep the lights on, keeping the coffee warm, and keeping our controllers charged. You know what I'm saying? So head over to patreon.com/thereformedgamers to consider pledging your support. As always, you can also check out our content out on YouTube at youtube.com/thereformedgamers. Just uploaded some Twitch archive streams of when I played Mega Man X for my birthday. It's a full playthrough of Mega Man X, if I remember correctly. Going through all 8 bosses, getting all the collectibles, beating all the Sigma stages. It's a very trying time. Wait until you see how I really struggle with the first level of the Sigma stages. It's something to behold, I tell you what. But as always, you can go to twitch.tv/TRG podcast as well. Hit the follow button there so you know when we always go live. I try to stream on the weekends to get that stuff going. But if you miss any of that stuff, again, we'll just put it over to YouTube, youtube.com/thereformedgamers. Also, head over to the website, thereformedgamers.wordpress.com for articles, show notes, opinion pieces, all sorts of things. We'll put them over there. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter at TRG Podcast, and you can join the Facebook group. Oh, and I almost forgot this one. You can join our subreddit now.
What?
Yeah, I completely almost forgot about that. You can go to our subreddit. I believe it's just r-the Reform Gamers as the subreddit. You can follow there, engage in conversation, engage in discussion, share some funny memes. Like in case you're just like really hyped about Super Smash Brothers, you can share some memes or something like that over there. But again, also check out the subreddit. We'll see you over there, dear listeners. But without further ado, until next time, GG and amen.